basically this video I'm reacting to is him talking about his top protein picks, and obviously he's vegan too, right? That's why I started following him, because he's vegan and he's a pretty fit guy.
We're talking about protein shakes.
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
Yeah, so I consume 120 grams of protein per day, thereabouts. And that is enough for me to be top 1% per day,
He jumped
thereabouts.
straight into it.
Yeah, so I consume 120 grams of protein per day, thereabouts. And that is enough for me to be top 1% optimal in muscle mass and cardiovascular ability and metabolic health. It is very common to think you need 150, 200, 250. It's not required. So I've demonstrated.
So that's something right there that needs to be spoken about. You know, and I've said this in the past. A lot of people say it in the past. A lot of people in the fitness industry talk about this. Talk about the amount of protein that you need. And as a vegan, this is very important. So if you're vegan, if you're not vegan, thinking about going vegan, this is very important information right here. So a lot of people think you need to eat 200, 250 grams of protein every day to build muscle or maintain muscle as a vegan, or just as someone who wants to maintain muscle. And where this common theme came from is from the bodybuilding community. Reason why they eat so much protein is because it wasn't no research back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It wasn't that much research. So they was just trying to bombard themselves with protein, and it kind of stick. So it's called kind of like bro science. If you go to any gym, you ask any dude in there, how much protein should you get? Oh, 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, when it's actually a false statement. The amount of protein you need is 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. If you get 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight, you will be able to build muscle and maintain muscle, no matter if you're eating plants, if you're eating whatever you're eating. Now, the reason why people say go a little bit higher, and the reason why I say go a little bit higher, like 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. For example, if you're 100 pounds, you want to get 100 grams of protein. The reason why I say that is because, so if you go to the store and you pick up a box of whatever, and if you look on the back and it says 5 grams of protein, the FDA not required to be 100% accurate, because nobody can be 100% accurate anyway. So if it says 5 grams of protein, it can be 3. If it says 5, it could be 7, if that makes sense. So that's why I say go a little bit higher, but all you really need is 0.8 grams. And especially if you're eating whole foods, real foods, you're getting everything that you need. So what he's saying right here is actually facts.
That you can be reasonable on the protein intake, have optimal biomarkers across the board. If like my son consumes more protein than that because he's trying to bulk up and he's also 19. So there are exceptions to this, but generally speaking, a lot of people over-consume protein.
Can we break down this protein situation a little more? You're vegan.
I am.
It's an assumption that one can't get the protein requirements hit through a vegan diet.
Yeah.
I'd assume that you argue against that point.
Yeah. So I am vegan. I do caloric restriction, which means I consume less than the recommended daily allowance. I consume 2,250 calories a day. I exercise for 1 hour a day, and I have a low protein intake, according to cultural norms of 120, 130. And so most people say with that profile, I would be weak. I would be not able to compete athletically. But actually, my muscle and body fat are top 1% optimal, and my cardiovascular ability, top 1.5% of 18-year-olds. So my biomarkers say it's top 1% optimal. So it's
his muscle mass and his bone density is at the top 0.99% of people on the planet. So he's in the top 1% of all people on the planet when it comes to muscle mass and bone density and strength, and he only gets 120 grams of protein. And I'm not sure how much he weighs. If I'm just looking at him, he probably weighs about 160 pounds. So that means he's getting probably about 0.6 or 0.7 grams of protein. So he's not even getting the recommended amount, and his muscle mass and his strength profile is the top 1% of people on the planet. So it's very shocking to hear if you believe mainstream media. If you believe mainstream media will tell you that you can't get protein from a plant-based diet. But based on what he's just saying right here, he can get it, and he is in the top 1% of everyone on the planet. So let's
example that I've defied all cultural norms, and I'm still a top performer.
Gotcha. I don't think there's anyone more qualified to speak about protein intake-based requirements or food-based requirements than you, because of your daily experimentation and your daily download of data from your own body. Can you break down some of the vegan protein sources that are your go-tos?
Yeah. Yep. So I'll caveat and say, of course.
Okay, this is what I'm trying to get to. Be going over the vegan protein sources. I'm trying to debunk or talk. Let's see what he's talking about. I want to see what protein.
Like the advice varies according to male, female. It varies according to age. So these are just general approximations. But what I meant to say is like we follow science and we follow data.
Right.
And so what I'm trying to say is don't follow cultural norms, follow the data. So get yourself measured. But yeah, I get my protein sources.
Before I let him go into it, that's very important. It's very important. I just got off a coaching call with one of my clients, and I was telling her, if you're not tracking, you're slacking. If you're not tracking, if you don't have data, you are shooting in the dark. It's literally the same thing as driving at night and cutting your headlights off. You wouldn't just shoot in the dark without being able to see where you're going. You wouldn't start in California and drive to New York without a navigation system. So why are you not tracking your calories? Why you are not tracking your protein? I hear it all the time. So what I was telling my client was, you have to track. You have to. Yes, there are outliers of people who get results and they don't track calories at all. But they are the exception to the rule. Most people should track. Most people should be tracking their calories if you want to build an amazing body. If you don't want to build an amazing body, then don't track your food. Don't track your calories. It's fine. Have a beer gut, have a belly. It's cool with me. I got a six-pack. You think Michael Jordan wasn't tracking his calories? You think LeBron James ain't tracking his calories? Come on, let's be real. You think Serena Williams wasn't tracking? Come on, let's be honest about this. I like this so far. Let's see what protein sources he's talking about, though.
From lentils, from pea protein, hemp protein. Those are primarily the major ones.
Gotcha. Lentils, pea proteins, and hemp proteins.
Yeah.
So you do a couple of protein.
Man, look, hold on. Let's bag that back, because he basically said all the proteins that I use myself. So where it go? Right there. So he said lentils, pea protein, and hemp protein. So that's very key right there. These three right here are key. If you're watching this and you don't know, you better be writing this down. This is key information. Lentils are super high in an amino acid called arginine and lysine. Lysine is what helps promote protein synthesis. Pea protein is the highest amount of protein per cup, right? And hemp protein, right? Hemp protein has a complete amino acid profile. So you probably heard this before. A lot of meat eaters, a lot of so-called carnivores, they'll say that plants have incomplete protein. You can't get a complete protein from plants, except for hemp. Hemp protein has each amino acid in it. You can go look this up. Go look this up right now. Hemp has every single amino acid, which makes it a complete protein. Which means if you wanted to, you can just eat hemp and get enough protein. But every other plant-based protein, you have to get a combination of different foods. So like rice and beans. Rice and beans is a complete protein. There's a lot of different combinations that you can do. So that's why he is talking about these three specifically. So he really knows what he's talking about. Like, you really know what he's talking about.